sure that we're coming in loud and clear. If you could just type in a Y for yes so you can hear me all right. We're about ready to get started here today, this evening, I should say. And welcome. Glad to have you all with us and more that are coming in right now. Really excited actually tonight because we've got Bill Kosterides coming in to you to talk about something that for my Big Trends community I basically have not talked about. Bill takes things from a very unique perspective, focusing on opportunities in the evenings. You know, if you're working another job during the day or you'd like to find additional opportunities at night, I think Bill is the perfect person to share with you how to do that because he's been doing this for a number of years, focused in particular on the E-mini futures, which tracks the overall stock market performance at night with the E-minis, and focuses on that from about 5 p.m. Central Time, so about 6 o'clock Eastern, all the way through until about 6 a.m. Eastern or 5 o'clock in the morning Central Time. So really gives you a lot of opportunities across both the first part of the evening as well as into the wee hours and into, as most people are just getting going. Bill's already focused on a full night's work. So I'm going to, without further ado, bring it over to Bill so he can talk to you about night scalping opportunities. I know he's done a phenomenal job creating a lot of consistency in not just his results from the trades he calls out live in his trade room with him and his team, but also the education that he has to share with you, because I know he shares my passion for educating fellow traders like yourself. So without further ado, Bill, take it away.
Well, thank you, Price, and we'd like to welcome everyone to the NightScalper program, and we're going to spend a few minutes tonight telling you a little bit about what we do, I hope, and you find it to be very informative. Okay, so as Price said, we've been doing this quite a while. I started following the Globex in the early 90s, and for those of you who are not familiar with that term, the Globex, or after hours market, which is was a product that was created by Reuters, and it was to accommodate currency traders or forex traders, because as most of you know that it was very expensive to have these guys on the floor all night long. The volume was thin. There wasn't a lot of orders that were being taken, so they created an electronic system. And again, it was created by Reuters, and it is the grandfather of electronic trading. It's literally the very first electronic trading platform. And it's evolved over the years, and I have been following this market. I have been watching this market since its early inception. In fact, in the early days, the only way that you could trade this market was via a computer terminal that was provided to you by the Futures Exchange. It was called a Globex terminal, and that's the only way you could enter orders. Now, today, and this only started in 2000, anyone, they called it open access. So anyone now with a laptop and an account with a couple $1,000s in it can access this market, and you can literally trade any financial future you can possibly think of. And that's the program that we're going to talk about tonight. But as Price said, we concentrate on trading only the E-mini S&Ps at night, and we have developed several indicators and programs, and we have a chat room. So we're going to talk a little bit, hopefully, about that, and then if you'll save any questions that you have, I'll try to answer those toward the end. So how many of you have traded in the Globex or the overnight market or after hours market where you trade futures? Okay, it's it's about split, I guess. It's a fairly decent number that have traded it. And for those of you who haven't traded, I know that you're familiar with that there's an S&P that trades overnight. And the one thing that I want to tell you before we really get started is it's a very different market at night than it is during the day. I know that's kind of hard to understand, but it has a different set of rules, and we're going to talk a little bit about that tonight and give you somewhat of a, hopefully an understanding a little bit about how that market works. But as I said before, this is a relatively new market as markets go, and the CME Globex trading system was developed in 1992, as we just mentioned. And again, it's considered the electronic platform. It is the grandfather of electronic trading platforms. So when we refer to the Globex, we're talking about the futures that are trading in the markets at night. Now, the trading hours have evolved over time, and let me just give you those real quick because if you're not familiar with them, it can cause you a problem. In the old days, and I'm dating myself, and I've been in this, I've been in the business over 35, 36 years. And in the old days, the Globex would close at 8:15 in the morning before the U.S. markets opened at 8:30, and they would close every day at 3:15 when the S&Ps close and reopen at 3:30. The times now are a bit different in that the S&Ps closed, the futures, they stop trading at 3:15, they reopen at 3:30, and they trade to 4:15. Then at 5 o'clock, we start the new trading day. So if you have a position on, for example, at 4:15 and you do not take it off, you're going to have a margin call because now you're carrying it over at 5 p.m. until the next day. Now, all the times that I will refer to tonight and use are central times. So you can literally hold a position if you're trading the E-mini futures till 4:15. But again, if you hold it past 4:15, you're going to get a margin call. With most platforms, it's around $3,850, $3,900 to carry it overnight. But if you get out at 4:14, for example, get back in at 5 p.m., you not only start the new trading day, but you avoid a margin call. And there's quite a few strategies that we use around those times, and I'll touch on those a little later. But what I want to tell you, probably if I say anything tonight that I think is important, is that if you've never traded futures or you just started and you're trying to learn futures, it is my opinion, and I feel very strongly about this because I've been teaching people how to trade this market for years now. This is the place to learn. And the Globex market is just an easier market to trade, and there are a lot of reasons for that. It's a slower moving market. It trends better. And more importantly, and this is I can't overemphasize this one, I think a lot of you will understand it, you don't have the computer buy and sell programs in the markets at night that you have during the day. Now, let me quantify that. When I say that you don't have the computer buy and sell programs, you don't have them directly in the E-minis because these programs, especially the high-frequency trading programs, these quant models require a lot of volume the way they're put together, and the volume's just not there at night to support these computer buy and sell programs. Now, we follow the Nikkei because it is one of the markets that move the S&Ps, and we're only interested in those financial markets that move the S&Ps during the hours in which we're trading. Now, I won't say that they're not computer buy and sell programs that move the Nikkei or move the Hang Seng or move the DAX or move the FTSE, but they're not computer buy and sell programs that are directly buying and selling the S&Ps at night in the Globex. So you just don't have these extreme volatile moves at night unless you have news that you have during the day. And I have spent, and that's what I'm here to sort of talk about, is that it's taken me years to develop the indicators that I found work well at night. When we first started trading this market, you have to understand it was a very, very small group of people who traded. As I said, you had to have been approved by the exchanges in order to just participate. And it wasn't open access like it is today. And we didn't have anyone to teach us the rights and the wrongs, what to do, what not to do. There wasn't a book. There wasn't a program. There weren't any webinars or seminars or any of that kind of thing that you could go to. So I had to learn these markets the hard way by paying my tuition. And trust me, I have done that. Now, the market at night, you'll find is less volatile, as I said earlier. We use tighter stops because you don't have the volatility. Generally, in our trade room, and I'll talk about that a little later, we use 2-point stops, and you just have overall less risk. Now, originally, when I was a portfolio manager back in the old days, that's how I got involved with the Globex. I started to study it and try to learn it because I would use it to hedge portfolios. And yes, you have the people who trade it and speculate in it, which is what we do. But then there's the benefit of being able to hedge it. So if you take home a position, let's say, and you're fat and happy and your portfolio is doing real well and the market's been going, like you hoped it would, and then 6, 7 o'clock rolls around, and then there's a tsunami in Japan, there's a Lehman Brothers, there's, the list goes on, and you find that everything that made you comfortable about the direction of your portfolio has just literally changed in a matter of hours. This is the only mechanism during the evening hours where you can go in and hedge your portfolio using futures. Now, for some of you who are asking some questions, there's a fellow there named Woody, and there's another one who goes by Bass Boat. Those are part of our group, and they'll try to answer some of your questions. And as I said, at the end, I'll circle back around and answer them as well. But one of the questions that I'm often asked is there enough volume and liquidity at night? And the answer is yes. And that's one of the reasons we trade the S&Ps is because, one, that's where we find that there's the most volume. It's the most liquid, and two, it is the market that literally moves with the other markets. And as I said earlier, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for those markets and events that move the S&P. We can figure out what's going to move the S&P and figure out the direction, and hopefully we can make some money. And then the hedging, that's ways to hedge your portfolio. I'm going to put a slide up in a second that will give you a ballpark, if you're not familiar with the mathematics of that event. And I think it'll give you somewhat of an idea of, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this slide, but this will give you a pretty good idea of what one contract, what it will take to hedge, say, a $150,000 portfolio. But the point I want to make is this is not only a great place to learn how to trade futures, but it's an excellent tool if you want to hedge your portfolio, especially in an event that there's some sort of news that none of us expected, and you want to try to keep from having a dramatic loss when you wake up in the morning. All right, so what is the difference? And I know many of you have seen, read, heard about this. What is the difference between an average trader and a successful one? And of course, and I know many of you have heard this, and it is true, and it's important no matter what it is you're trading, but you have to have an effective plan. And after 23 years as a futures trader, I have developed a method of trading in this market that I'm going to tell you about. All right, key market times and proprietary indicators. We'll talk about Greekisms. If you're wanting to know what that is I'm a full-blooded Greek. And some of the folks that work with me, as we develop these signals and indicators over the years, they nicknamed them Greekisms. Sort of like, I guess, Confucius has his sayings. These are some of the things that I've developed over the years. And as I go through some of these tonight, what I want you to know and for the most part understand is that nothing in this business, as we all know, works 100% of the time. But these are indicators and signals that I have spent years developing, back testing, and whenever I found anything that worked 80% of the time, I would adopt it, test it, and then if it worked consistently, as I said, at least 80% of the time, I would continue to use it. And this is probably number 4, money management. This is where most traders I find are missing in their discipline and their strategy, is they do not have a good money management system. And we stress that almost as important as the mechanics of trading. All right, key market times. I think by now most of you know after 5 o'clock, the U.S. is not the leading market. I know you'll be disappointed to hear that, but it's true. And as I said, I have spent years trying to understand and figure out what goes on in these markets at night, what affects the S&Ps, and what makes them move the way they do. Now, the Asian session, which we define as that takes place from 5 p.m. till 12 a.m. in the morning, the 2 markets that we focus on are the Nikkei and the Hang Seng. Now, some of you will say, well, why not Australia? Why not Canada? Why not, there's some news tonight, as a matter of fact, GDP news on New Zealand. And the answer is fairly simple. They just do not affect and move the S&Ps at night, as do the Hang Seng and the Nikkei. The Nikkei opens when we're on daylight savings time, as we are right now, opens at 7:15. And it's very important you know these times because they affect what the S&Ps might do. And the Hang Seng opens, well, excuse me, the Nikkei opens at 7. Hang Seng opens at 8:15. Now the European session, which is predominantly the DAX and the FTSE, the DAX in Germany, the FTSE in the UK, those are the markets that will most affect the S&Ps, and that is from midnight to 5 a.m. in the morning. Now once we get past 5 a.m. in the morning, now you start to get into the U.S. market, and the U.S. market is the dominant market at that time. So the controlling markets during the European session are the DAX and the FTSE. During the Asian session, which is what we're in right now, is the Nikkei and the Hang Seng. Okay. Let me take a second and see if there are any questions so far about the little bit we've talked about. I know this to many of you may sound play on words a little bit foreign, but there was a time when we were trading these markets, or when you were trading even during the day, where you didn't really care about news out of China. I mean, let's be honest, it's a communist country, even though it walks and talks like a capitalistic system these days, and now it's the second largest economy in the world. And if you don't know what's going on in these countries that we are linked with, again, Japan, China, you look at the tsunami and how it dominated world markets during that crisis. But if you don't know about news in China, about their GDP, about their manufacturing numbers, I know many of you get up in the morning and that's one of the first things you hear is that the European markets, the Asian markets were down because manufacturing numbers out of China came out and they were disappointing. All right, so for the most part, what we do, and I think you will find that we are probably the only program, and we've looked around the web, we don't know of anyone else that does what we do. So our program's very unique. Our trading hours basically start at 5 p.m. Central Time, and we go to 5 a.m. Now, for the most part, those are our trading hours, but there are times we will call a trade in our chat room right at the close in the marketplace, especially if we have a close that closes at the top tick of the last hour of trading. We try to scalp a point or two on the opening in the Globex at 5 o'clock. We'll send out an email to our members in the chat room, letting them know that we're going short at whatever the price is and to hold the trade, and then we'll probably deal with it when the market reopens at 5. Let's see, Dean, the time for the Asian market. Yeah, that was Central Time, and it's 8:15 is when the Hang Seng opens, 7 is when the Nikkei opens. And as I said earlier, now, you know, it's a seamless 24-hour market that we have now. It literally trades with the exception of about from 4:15 to 5 o'clock. We have that 45-minute break. Otherwise, the E-minis trade around the clock. But the technical hours for the Globex are from 3:30 to 8:30. But you don't really know the difference because they just continue trading throughout the night. Now, I think everyone by now understands and believes in the 24-hour market, that we're in an international trading market, that the market is affected by what happens in countries like Europe and Asia. We all know that now. So if you buy into the fact that we're in a 24-hour trading market, this market that we're talking about tonight encompasses some 17 hours. So if you're not paying attention to this market, if you don't at least understand what happens in this market and how it works, even if you're not going to trade in it, that means you're missing out on 17 hours of information and trading. That's a lot when you consider the 24-hour trading clock. All right. Some of the indicators that we've developed, just like during the day, I think some of you have probably heard about the noon balloon that takes place during the traders for future trading during the day. There's usually a little rally right into noon around Central Time, if any of you have ever noticed. But there are certain times at night that the market reacts a certain way, and these are pivot times that, as I said, we spend years developing. Then you need to know what the DAX, the FTSE, the Hang Seng, and the Nikkei are doing. So if you're going to trade with us, or if you're just going to trade on your own, this market, you need to have real-time Hang Seng, real-time Nikkei, real-time DAX, real-time FTSE quotes, and we provide those to you in our chat room, or we can help you and tell you where you can get those. Now, most platforms, especially when you have to get quotes off the Singapore exchanges, they will charge you anywhere from $20, $40, $50. There are a lot of people who have tried to use the internet and get the quotes from Japan and the Hang Seng, but I want to caution you, those are generally 10, 15-minute delays, and that can be a lifetime when you're trading futures. And then we have the DOM, which is one of my favorite indicators. It's the depth of market. It's basically a volume-based indicator that we use at night, and it's really interesting because the DOM is not effective during the day. It's really only effective from 5 p.m. till 5 a.m. in the morning. And that's why I say trading this market at night is very different than the rules for trading during the day. And then we'll follow the bonds. We'll follow the currencies, particularly the yen and the euro. And we're looking for those again, those financial markets that affect the S&Ps and will make those S&Ps move. For example, if there's news at night and you see a big move in the S&Ps, one of the first places you want to look is at the futures and the currencies and the bonds, because if it's a real news event, those will be two of the first financial markets that will move and kind of confirm whether this news is really important or not, or that there is news and not just a big move in the S&Ps. Now, the Greekisms are generally broad signals that we use to give us some sort of direction and trading at night. And those are 15 insights and proprietary trade setups, and they're designed specifically now for the overnight market. And I'll give you a couple of examples of those so you can get a feel for what I'm talking about. One of my favorite setups and trades is the overnight short squeeze. Now, what this is on Friday, generally this happens, where you'll have some, and it happens a lot here lately in this crazy market, where you'll have news that's very negative. Let's say the employment numbers on Friday morning generally, and the market will react to that news negatively, and then it'll spend the rest of the afternoon working its way higher, maybe even closing, to the plus side. So when you have a short squeeze on negative news, we love to take a position home into that event. And then on Sunday nights, when the S&Ps open back up at 5 o'clock and there hasn't been any news over the weekend, hopefully successfully we can take a profit. And here is a chart, and I'm not sure what the date on this one was, but I'm not going to dwell on it. I think pretty much get a feel for one of the signals or Greekisms that I was referring to. I know it says 1665 at the bottom, but I don't remember when exactly that was. Couldn't have been too long ago. All right, here's another example of a Greekism. I don't know how many of you have noticed this, but if you trade in this market with us at night, this is important to know. The Mondays following options expiration, the market usually opens up and goes positive for at least a couple of hours, because there's still some squaring off of positions that take place after options expire on Friday. And the reason that is important is that if you're trading in the Globex on Sunday night and you're short, by having this information available to you, at some point they're probably going to turn around and start to move up, even if it's in the wee hours of the morning, because 80% of the time, as I said before, you'll have a Monday after options expiration where the market rallies for a little bit. Then it may sell off. Some days it just may continue to rally. It's hard to say, but it'll generally open up. And like I said, when as part of our program, we have education, and that's where Price and I believe firmly that education is everything. We're in that group. You teach a man or a woman to fish, and we spend a lot of time on education. It's part of our program. It's part of the package. It's part of our chat room, and I'll talk a little bit about that later. Like I said, I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on these charts because we do that in our educating programs. And money management, as I said before, this is where I find a lot of traders, if they have a weakness, it's in having a discipline and a money management system. Now, let me tell you how we do it at night. And I think some of these mistakes that I'm putting up here now, most of you have seen or heard or read about. We have a very unique system, and I will tell you that the majority of people that are in our room and traders are in there to supplement their income. If you're in there for the action, if you're in there for the adrenaline rush, I hate to tell you, you might be in the wrong place, because the way we do it and the way we trade, we're in there to supplement income. And the vast majority of folks in our room are in there for that very same reason. Now, let's just, I'll give you an example real quick, and I won't spend a lot of time on this. But we recommend you trade multiple contracts. And so, for example, let's say that your goal is to make $2,000 a month to supplement your income. And let's assume you're going to have about 20 trading nights out of the month. And we know, you're not going to make money every night. But let's just say you have to average on 20 nights. If you want to make $2,000, you need to average $100 a night. So if you set that as your goal, that sets up everything for our money management system. So if your goal, again, is to make $2,000 a month to supplement your income, generally that tells you that you can do that trading 2 contracts. You don't need to trade 5 or 6. You can if that's what you choose. But you can do it with a lot less risk, control the risk by trading 2 contracts. And the way we do it is you don't put all contracts on at the same time. You don't take them off at the same time. And this way we minimize risk a great deal in our program. So again, if you want to make that $2,000 a month, assuming you need to make $100 a night, and some nights you're going to have losing nights, then here's the hard part. And this is the most difficult discipline I've seen for most to stick by, including myself, is many a night we will see that and find that you've made your goal, you've made your $100, you should be fat and happy. But, we all make that mistake of we continue to trade. And if you continue to trade, you're likely to make a mistake and give some of it back. So to summarize, it's relatively simple. And I'll talk a little bit more about these in just a minute. You've got your key market times. You've got your proprietary indicators, which there are 6 or 7 of. The Greek isms, I think there are 14 or 15 of those. And then, the money management system. And we spend a lot of time educating you on these 4 different aspects of the NightScalper program. Now, as you can imagine, we're often asked, and we've been doing this a long time, what about your performance? And we call trades in our chat room. And we have a chat room, as I said earlier, a trade room. It's an Omnovia-based system. We generally start broadcasting about 5 o'clock. And we're in the room till 5 in the morning. And we're there to assist you, to help you if you have any questions. One of us being either Woody, that you see in the room now, or Harry, who we call Bass Boat, are in the room. Sometimes all 3 of us, but for sure there's one of us in the room at all times to assist and help you throughout the night, to help you find trades and to find low-risk trades and to meet your goals. Now, Woody, and this is another one of our claim to fame. I don't know of anyone else that can make this statement. We have the only moderator / rocket scientist in the chat room business. He literally retired from NASA a couple of years ago when they shut down the shuttle program in Florida. And he, being an engineer, is a numbers guy, and numbers are numbers, and he doesn't fudge numbers. He lets the numbers speak for themselves, and he tracks our performance. And trust me, he'll fight me for a quarter of a point. Not only he does on a regular basis. And so, and he's also the guy who's created a lot of these charts and graphics and programs that we use at night to help us navigate these markets. So I think we have a slide here. These are the returns to make it real simple. And then a lot of this, if you email us, we'll be happy to send you an in-depth set of charts that he's developed over the years that tell you when our best trades are, how many losing trades we have, how many winning trades we have. I mean, he's got every chart you can possibly think of. But generally speaking, to summarize, we average about $1,000 a month. Now, let me be sure you understand what that means. That means if you make every trade that we call during the course of the month, that's what you should average. Now, some folks, and let me just make two clarifications about what we do at night and how we do it. First of all, we know that not everyone can stay up all night. And that's one of the beauties of this market, by the way, is it gives you the flexibility, especially if you're working or you're busy during the day, where you can come home and trade this market at night and focus on it. But we know people go to bed and they have other lives. And I would say that 70% of the folks who trade with us trade till about midnight and they go to bed. So about only 30% of the diehards literally stay up with us through the night owl session or through the European session. But this chart represents what you should do, what you should make, what you have made in the last 30 months if you have followed these if you have followed all of our trades during the course of a month. Okay, is the sound still okay? Someone indicated that the sound might be getting low. Okay, sorry about that. All right, so let me just stress this. When I start talking about the FTSE and the Nikkei and the Hang Seng and quotes from Singapore and the yen and the euro, most people will say, goodness gracious, this is just a lot of information and this is a lot to learn. And let me just stress this, and I can't stress it enough. The way we teach you to trade this market, we literally have made it very, very simple. I mean, we have developed websites where you can get information that you need to trade. You have us in the chat room supporting you at all times. So it is, in my opinion, I'll say it again, you want to learn to trade futures, this is the best place to do it, and we make it very easy to learn. And I cannot stress this enough, whether you trade in this market or not, you need to understand a little bit about this market because you're leaving a lot of information on the table if you're not following this market. Now, also, I'm sure I can put up a live of our room right now, but I will tell you before I even go back and look in the other room, we shorted 17.19 tonight. We're still short. We have stops at 22 3/4, and the lowest they've been since we've been in the trade is 18.5, and we're still short. But again, I've got to tell you that whether you trade this market or not, it's important that you know a little bit about this market, how it works, because it can give you very valuable information to not only help your trading during the day, but just to help you in general when you're trying to manage your portfolio and trade successfully. All right, so this is kind of a slide of what our chat room looks like. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but the black box, and you can't really see this, of course, in our chat room, you can see it just fine. This is a reproduction of the room live. And you get all your quotes. You can see where, I don't know if you can see where I'm holding right now. You can see, okay, it looks like Woody's trying to make it better for us, where you can see the quotes on the Nikkei, the Hang Seng, the various markets that we follow at night. On the left is a dome-o-matic, as we have so named it. Actually, the folks in our room named it that. Okay, this is live, Woody. Well, thank you, sir. This is why I was talking about having your own rocket scientist. He can do things I'm not even able to think about doing. So this is what our room looks like. Of course, the graphics are bigger and you can see the numbers a lot better. And this volume indicator on the left in the white where you see the pink bar, that is our dome indicator. And again, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this. Woody's showing you now because it requires a couple of hours of education, and that is part of our program. And we will teach you how to use these tools in our chat room. So the chat room, trade room, they're all part of the deal. Okay, so let me see if I can get my slides back up here. So here's what we're going to talk about tonight, and this is the NightScalper Elite offering. You get 30 days in the chat room or trade room. And let me tell you this, and I think I can safely say this, we probably have one of the most helpful, and I'm not talking about the guys at the moderators like myself, Woody and Harry. We have some of the most helpful and friendly people you will ever meet in any chat room in the country, or for that matter, the world, because we have people in there from Australia, we have people in there from Amsterdam, Germany, Canada, and the list goes on, Ireland. So, but the point I'm trying to make is it's a great group of folks. Most of them have been in there quite a while, and they're happy to help you when you ask questions or you need help. Now, we're going to give you, on the Elite, the NightScalper program, you get 30 days access to the trade room. The first Tuesday of every month, we have training and education where we teach you how to develop and further your skills. I have learned that a lot of folks who've even seen this stuff 1, 2, 3 times, they feel like if they go in and listen to it over and over again, it helps them hone their trading skills. You're going to get the NightScalper 101 course. It's on demand. It's the intro course that talks a lot about the information that you need to get started, the hours, the type of accounts you need, general overview of the room and how to use it. And that's something you get as part of this offering. It's yours to keep and have and to hold forever and ever and ever. You'll get trade alerts via emails during the market week. And then you get the low risk, high reward trade setups that we've been talking about tonight. It's $47 for the 30 days. Go to nightscalper.com, and I'm going to leave this offer open till midnight Thursday. The cost of the program, the same program you're getting for $47 for the 30 days. If you stay with us and you continue to trade with us, it's $147 a month. And that's all the education you can eat. That's all the trading you can do. $147 a month. All right. So let me take some questions now. And try to answer as many of those as I can. Let's see, Reg, I believe it is. Yes, we have a breakdown. Woody, if you will put in your email address, Woody will send you that breakdown. Let's see here. Larry, does the second part of the night usually carry through to the day? No reports, of course. I'm not sure I understand your question, Larry, but yes, it's seamless trading. If you have the right platform, and we don't care what platform you trade on, the names are many. Think of Swim, there's Ninja, there's OEC, which is what I use. There's Options Express. There are many platforms. As long as you can get real-time quotes, and like I say, we provide you with those quotes if you're part of our program. I mean, guys and gals, you can spend $40, $50 a month just on quotes. So, you get the live trading literally from 5 at night to almost 5 in the morning. Our chat room is open on the weekends, even though we don't call trades on Sunday nights unless there's news or we carry the trade over. But the chat room is generally open so you can communicate with your fellow traders if you like. And that's the beauty of this. You're not sitting in some dark room at night by yourself trying to figure these markets out. There's a community from all over the world, plus some folks who have been doing this for a long, long time. In fact, I don't think you'll find anyone who's been trading this market longer than I have that are there to help you figure out these markets at night. How much money needed for trading? Mark, most platforms, and I'm not speaking for all of them now, require you to have $500 per E-mini contract that you want to trade. So if you want to trade one E-mini contract, I recommend you have $2,000, but you can trade it if you have 500, but I wouldn't recommend that. No, Dean, it's $47 tonight. This offer expires Thursday. That's 30 days in the chat room. That is training. We do that on the first Tuesday of every month. You get the introductory course to trading in the room with us and trading the Globex. You get the email alerts for those 30 days. We're going to call trades, but if you're in after 30 days, it's $147 a month. So if you cancel, before the 30 days is up, you get to keep the course and keep whatever money hopefully you made trading with us. It's yours. But if you stay in after 30 days, it's $147 a month. You can quit anytime you want to. There's not any contract or commitment of any kind. Woody, I know we have some folks from Canada. Rex says he lives in Canada and he's having trouble getting in. So if you can try to help him, please, sir. And Jeanette, just Greg, who's another one of our group, she just hopefully gave you the support where you can get some help. The first Tuesday of every month will be October 1st, I believe, is the next one, Jerry. All right, any other questions for me or our group? Well, we thank you for saying that. And it's always nice to hear from some of you folks and what you think. But I promise you that I doubt you will find, if you want to learn how to trade futures, this is, again, the place to learn. And I doubt you will find a more helpful group of people when you're trying to learn how to do that. And I doubt you will find a chat room that will stay up with you all night if you choose to do so and trade. Like I say, most of the folks in our room They trade before midnight and they go to bed. Dean, my name is Bill Costaritas. You can call me Bill. That'll be just fine. Most people call me the Greek, but I'm just Bill. Dan, you you have to remember now, everyone trades at their own pace. Everyone puts in their own trades in our group. You can trade one contract. You can trade, we have people who trade 10, but we recommend you trade at least two because our system, the way we teach and educate, it's based on trading at least more than one contract. Let me give you an example. Let's say tonight we're short at 17.19, okay? And if you're short two contracts from 17.19 and it drops to 17.17, you've made 2 points. What we'll tell you to do at that point is now you're up 2 points. We'll tell you to take one down and keep one. Bring your stop down to 19.75. No matter what happens, you can't lose money. You still make a 1 1/4 point on the night. That's an example of how we manage our trades. In fact, that's an example of how we'll manage this one we're in tonight. Your platform, typically, Mark, is going to, and if you don't have a platform that's doing this, you need to find, or we will recommend one that does. You should pay somewhere between $5 and $6 a round turn period in the story. So if you trade one contract, you get in, you get out, it should cost you somewhere between $5 and $6. If they're charging you a trading fee and they're charging you for quotes and all that, let us know. We can take you somewhere where they don't. And if you use a platform that one of us being Woody or Harry or myself use, we can help you and educate you on that as well. Al, can you safely trade two contracts with an account balance of $4,000? Absolutely. As Woody just said, though, you can't hold it overnight. How many trades do you call per evening on average? Well, tonight I've only called one trade because, let's see, let me take a look here. We got short at 17.19 and they're trading 18 and a half, and we're still short, and we plan to probably just hold this one. So in this case, we may only call one trade tonight because this is going to probably be one we just hang on to. As I said, if it goes to 17, we'll take half the position down. Now we have 2 points in our pocket. We'll bring the stop down to 19 3/4. No matter what happens at that point, you cannot lose money on the night. And if this thing breaks and breaks big, as it could after what we saw today and yesterday and the day before and the last 12 days, then you can have a huge night without any loss at risk. Does everyone understand that? That's important because that is a major tenet of how we trade. All right, any other questions? Questions going once. And Price, we would love, we would like to thank you rather for allowing us to be with you and your folks. And again, we look forward to working with y'all in the future. Questions going twice. Oh, Lord have mercy, Bill. You know, believe it or not, there are not a lot of good Greek restaurants in this town. There used to be. In fact, most of them used to be owned by the old Greeks, but now it's franchises. It's just very hard to find a good Greek restaurant these days. My wife, who's not Greek, she's found some good ones that you buy frozen, believe it or not. They taste just like my grandparents used to make. That you buy. I think she gets them at Sam's or somewhere. I'm not even sure. Becky, we don't do anything necessarily different, but we we really pull back on our trading. We become very cautious during the week of options expiration because we know that it's silly fun and games. Yeah, now Larry, I have some good friends who actually work on the CME who are Greek that have taken me to a couple of the good Greek restaurants, and you do have them in Chicago. I do envy you that. I like Chicago. That's one of the New York and Chicago, two of the few cities where you can really still get good Greek food. JW, we only trade the mini S&P. Let me be clear about this, okay? We look at the markets that you just mentioned. We look at a lot of other markets to help give us direction on a trade, but we only trade the E-mini. My philosophy is very simple. Learn one market and learn it well. Woody, do we have a replay? David would like to know. Okay. Just email us at NightScalper support, and one of our folks, I'm sure, will help you with that. Again, we would like to thank Price. We want to thank you for spending a little of your time with us tonight. We look forward to seeing you in our chat room. We hope that if we did anything tonight, we helped you learn something that will help your trading and your investing. All right, so thanks again. Good night, everyone. Harry, Jeanette, Woody, thank you for your help.